Merry meet, guys. Welcome back to Witches of the Moon. I am your Wednesday host, Houston, and this week we are talking about prana or breath, what it is, how it can be utilized, how you can learn more about it. Truth be told, I'm not a pranic healer. I do incorporate some of their techniques in my own practice when cleansing and empowering. My cleansing techniques, I believe, come from pranic, the structure of pranic healing, but I'm not sure the empowering and working magic does. But prana is roughly transmitted to life force or breath. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about how breath work, I incorporate breath work and how I use it and how I use the power of my own breath or the own, element of air, to empower things, to cleanse things, So from what I researched a little bit, pranic healing is kind of like Reiki, where it doesn't have to be, it can be distance or non-physical. You can, or it can be hands-on. But what Natalie and Jen talked about, using pranic energy, the breath, different breathing techniques to cleanse and recharge the meridians in your body, the energy connectors, and your aura and your chakras. I do that a lot in my practice. There is for me, it's very simple. Simple chakra cleansing and recharging technique that I like to do. It's a 9-breath chakra cleansing. So what I do is it's a mixture of breathing and visualization. So first thing I do is I breathe in for a count of 8 beats, 4 beats. You can change up the count, whatever you're comfortable with. It depends on my mood, depending on what number I count with. If it's 4, if it's 7, 5, 8, 9, whatever. But you breathe in for a certain amount of time, and while you're breathing in, you first visualize your breath bringing in white light to kind of purify the body, to get it ready for what you're about to do. And then when you breathe out, I visualize like a smoke, like a gray smoke of the negative energy coming out of my body, and it eases. I feel that my muscles ease, and the tension eases when I do that. And on my next breath in, I visualize a deep color red coming in through my nose and going down to charge my root chakra. And then when on my exhalation out of my mouth, I visualize like a rust red of the negative energy that was attached, or the energies that were attached that weren't helping my root chakra come out of my mouth. I do in through the nose, out the mouth. And I do that for each one. So the next one, orange. Breathe in orange, breathe out the gunk. Next one, yellow. Breathe in yellow, breathe in yellow, breathe out the gunk. Get my motions back. Then green, blue. I do indigo. Or no, I don't do indigo. I do blue, I do purple, and then I do clear. Some people do indigo and violet, but I like to have a third eye purple, and my crown chakra is clear. I see it kind of like a crystal flower when it opens up, or when I visualize it opened. And then the end of that, once you see the clear, I breathe in another thing of white light to kind of seal it and kind of balance everything, and then I breathe out whatever colors were over or under, and that kind of white light goes and fills the energy centers, and it makes me feel extremely grounded, extremely empowered. I usually do that before I do a reading for someone, or for myself, or before I do a ritual. That's my way of getting into the zone. There are techniques that involve breath, like count of 4 breath in, hold it for 4, count of 4 breath out, hold it for 4, and doing that repeatedly. I don't know why I'm doing that, like back and forth. But doing that repeatedly kind of alters your state of consciousness and helps you ease into a meditation. It can also help you when you're working with divination. So let's say if you want to do water scrying, not so much recommended fire scrying, because with the exhalation of the breath, you have to be careful. You're pointing your breath away from the fire so it doesn't alter the flame. I'm very handsy tonight. But like if you're doing water scrying or crystal scrying or mirror scrying or hell, looking up at the clouds, or, you know, looking at the ground and looking for shapes and trees in the ground, or scrying at a wall. If you're looking at a wall and trying to scry, which is something to do, and it's pretty cool to do. Off topic. But if you're doing it, I fully recommend doing, breathe in, fill your lungs up for 4, or how many beats you want to do it. You can do, I usually go with the beat of my heart. So 1, 2, 3, 4, then hold for that amount. Then let it, all the air out for the next. And then hold, and then let it back in. You do want to be careful not to do it too fast. And of course not to do it too slow. You want to find your pace. And if you feel uncomfortable at any time, please stop. Because I've noticed when I started doing that, like when I was trying to calm down and my heart, you know, I was agitated, so my heartbeat was up, my blood pressure was up. So I tried to do that breath. I noticed that I was going too quickly, and I felt my lips start to go numb. So I had to stop because I was starting to hyperventilate, and that wasn't helping my heartbeat at all. So that was very, that wasn't helpful at all, but at least at the time. So there's also another thing that it's not really pranic healing, but it's still considered the breath. I want to talk about that, the breath aspect, more so than prana, because I know more about, well, I've experienced more with breath than I have with prana. So it's also, trying to think of how to word it. For me, when growing up, I've always heard the phrase, breathe through the pain. Breathe through the pain, walk it off. But usually when you're in pain, you're taking shallow breaths. When you're in, whether it be arthritic pain, stomach pain, a headache, you're not taking full deep breaths to get the blood pumping to where it needs to go. So that's why when I start having like a flare-up in my stomach, or I have a headache, I stop myself, because I notice that when the pain hits, I'm not breathing the way I should, and I stop myself and I intentionally make myself do deep breaths. It calms it down. It kind of tampers the pain, but if it's too bad, then, you know, taking something or going to see a doctor, it's definitely what I do. So let's say, I used to do this all the time when I had stomach cramps really bad, and it's horrible because your diaphragm, because I breathe through my diaphragm. I was a band kid. Don't breathe with the shoulders. Breathe through your diaphragm, your stomach. I know when I have a stomach flare up, breathing through my diaphragm can be painful. So I try to do as much as I can, and then opening up the lungs, I'll lean back and then go breathe with my shoulders, because it opens up, it kind of elongates your spine to where you get more air in, and it kind of helps get the blood flow. And if you've taken something, it gets the medication through your system a little bit faster. So yeah. Oh, one thing I said that I haven't talked about. So how I enchant items with my breath. This is something I learned from Silver Ravenwolf, I believe, when she talked about making energy balls, and it's in her powwow, her brucherie class, which I bought. I got all 4 of those from her Etsy store before she closed it down. It's one of my absolute favorite practices. But one of the ways that she enchants items, or one of the ways she taught to enchant items, is through the breath. So what you would do is you would inhale and get yourself centered, and then you would visualize the next inhale being a golden light, and you exhale it back out, to kind of create the sacred space around the item if you're holding the item. So let's say we'll use my phone. So I inhale the golden light and blow it on the phone. Next thing, let's say you already have this in mind, but you think of a color that goes with your intention. So I want long-lasting battery life. We'll think of that for the phone. So for me, that's kind of like a pale yellow, kind of like a sticky note yellow. This was my colors pop in my head. So, and then I visualize breathing that color in, setting the intention in my mind, and I blow it on the phone. I do that a number of 3 times, each time visualizing that, and then I seal it with an ink alarm cross. That is how she taught in the class, or in her class, to charge items, especially with candles, and it was charging the flame and charging the water, was where I got that from. And I love doing it I love enchanting that way with my dream catchers, because you can also cleanse with the breath physical items. Well, not physical. You can, of course, physical items. So if you wanted to cleanse an item instead of enchant it, you would do kind of the same thing, but instead of a golden light, you would visualize just the white light, and the white kind of disperses all the negativity. So I'm going to stop before I ramble on. And I know this wasn't really about prana, but it was about the breath. I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and until next week, or hold up, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, or you think that I didn't go over something very clearly, let me know in the comment section below. And until next week, many blessings, guys.